Today we're gonna solve all your snake's problems, including why does my snake always wanna bite me? But before we get into that question, I'm gonna ask this one. What happens when my snake isn't eating? What do I do?
So this is what I do when my snake's not eating. Gemma, food. This is my technique I do when my snake's not eating. Food. Food. And it gets them riled up. Food. She might be sleeping right now, but I promise it usually works. Food.
The first thing you want to do is check the temperature and the humidity. Make sure that the right requirements for your snake are right. This has a basking light. It's about 90 degrees in the back right here. It's about 82 degrees in the front, and it's about 60 degrees humidity, which is exactly what we want. So as long as your temperature and humidity are right, that's a huge issue that can help with feeding.
What hognose don't eat. Sometimes we like the scent. If we try to get them on mice or rats, so what we'll do is we'll take that little munch and we'll rub it on a frog. Why? Because hognose love frogs. Who doesn't love some chicken or frog legs?
Well, Mike, that's actually a great idea because we do fish sense hognose a lot. So definitely my next advice would be to switch up the meal. So basically, if you're feeding a rat, try to feed a mouse. If you're feeding a mouse, try to feed a rat. If you have a big snake that's eating rabbits, you can try frozen pigs, so on and so forth. With hognose, they're not eating normal rodents. You can do sense with fish. Frogs. So switching up the food item can actually help you get your snake to eat.
So if I can't get a snake to eat, usually I'll just ask very nicely, please eat, please. It's good for you.
Check to see the last time your snake ate. If it only has been a week or so, maybe it's going into shed. And at the very early stages of shed, sometimes you actually don't even notice they're going into shed. Again, if a snake has only been about a week, really nothing to worry about. Which, by the way, this snake is freaking gorgeous. Lastly, just make sure your snake looks healthy. We all know Gemma went 15 months without food. Ball pythons are notorious for going off food 3 months, 4 months, even sometimes 8 or 9 months. But 15 months without food. But the fact is that Gemma looked good. So as long as you just try once a week, don't overtry. Eventually, almost all the time, we'll always go back on the food. My snake is stuck in shed. What do I do short-term and long-term to solve the problem?
Well, it's natural for them to shed, so just let them shed. But if they're in there for like a long time, just give them a bath, some warm water, some bath salts. I don't know, that's what my mom likes.
For the short term, if your snake is stuck in shed, which Lucy often is stuck in shed, we actually have to soak them. Take warm water, you want just enough to cover the animal, and put it in there for a half hour, sometimes even up to an hour, until that skin is soothed enough that you can actually help peel it off.
You're not talking. Short term. Mist down the gauge. Give them a little extra humidity. You want to make it rain. Long term, put them in a little soak. Lukewarm water. Not too hot, not too cold.
Long term, what you could do is you can use a bedding that's like a coconut bedding and just spray it down. It'll absorb that water or keep the humidity up. You can actually do this once a day or so, and even spray the snake depending on what kind of snake it is. Get that humidity to 55, 60% plus, not much higher than 70% depending on the species, of course, but that'll help your snake not get stuck in a shed so that their snake can actually shed on its own, which ideally is what you want. One of the things that can happen when your snake is stuck in shed can actually retain what they call an eye cap, which is basically to protect the snake's eyes because it doesn't have an eyelid. So what do you do if your snake has an eye cap?
Blink. One thing you can do if your snake has a stuck eye cap is put a little warm piece of paper towel in there with some water, and then hopefully it'll rub it off. I think she's hungry. And if that doesn't work, call a professional.
When a snake has an eye cap, sometimes people will actually use tweezers to get on that edge, and they'll actually just kind of slightly peel that away and actually peel the eye cap right off. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't personally use tweezers this way. I think you can't damage the eye, and I think it's very dangerous to do it. You can work, but be very, very careful if you do it. Personally, I would try to stay away from tweezers.
It's not a snake, but it's an eye. Imagine this eye is capped. You're gonna want to take a digit and just go like this, and just like that, caps off.
Just use your finger, you know, sometimes you can actually rub from front to back and actually get the edge of that eye cap starting to go, and then you can just kind of take it and peel it back that way, or even just use your finger to do it. That sometimes works, but sometimes it can be a little bit difficult because those eye caps are actually indented right into the ocular cavity, which does take a little bit of work. So sometimes fingers work, but oftentimes it's a little difficult.
If he does have some like eye cap action going on, what I'd probably do is give him a good long soak and just see if I can help get it off for him.
Now the one thing that we use here is actually this little rubber cap here. You can buy these at the office store for like $1. They're little rubber things for using to count money. And basically what you do is if you hold the snake real gently and just rub from front to back like this, it actually grabs onto that ocular cap and actually will take it off really well. It's almost like a little sticky thing, works really, really well. Again, be very gentle because you don't want to injure the eye. And if you ever think that maybe your snake has an eye cap, but you're not 100% sure, I would always stay away from trying to take it off because you can injure an eye if it turns out that it's not an eye cap and it's what they call an eye wrinkle, which is actually just a sign of dehydration. So you guys know that I got my stitches out yesterday. I'm pretty happy about it. I wanted to warn you, you might want to wear a mask around Mike now. Yo, stitches are contagious. I got my stitches out and now Mike's got stitches. So you guys could catch the stitches if you're not careful.
Oh no, not the stitches.
Not me, I'm with him the most.
My snake just threw up. What do I do?
Clean it up, silly.
What happens when a snake regurgitates? Give it a couple days off. Maybe skip the next feeding, and then go down a size or two a meal. You know, don't go back to a large rat. Go smaller.
I think Matilda wants to help with this answer, and you're right, Mike. Definitely want to give your snake a week off, and then when you go back to feeding it, you want to give it something about half the size so that it can actually digest. You don't want it to regurgitate twice because it can become a much more chronic issue than a one-time deal. Again, boas and pythons rarely regurgitate, but corn snakes and king snakes, it's a little bit more common, and if you use that practice, that'll help out to get started.
If your little buddy throws up, assess the situation, because it may be dire. Why did he throw up? Did he have a tummy ache? Is he sick? Is he dying?
Another thing to consider is oftentimes regurgitation comes from dehydration. So always make sure your snake has a large water bowl so it can get plenty of hydration.
I know what I would want if I threw up. And that's for someone to take care of me and look after me. Are you okay, Marshmallow? Do you need a snack?
And if all else fails and your snake continues to regurgitate, you have to take it to a vet. There's something that's called metronidazole, which is a type of medication that you can tube your snake. It's often called Flagyl, which is a generic term. And that Flagyl actually can help repair all the damage that happens in the stomach and cure them from regurgitation. But again, first thing you want to do is give it a skip, small meal, make sure it's hydrated. If that doesn't work, you have to go see your vet. Let's take a break from our normally scheduled vlog to feed some alligators. Here you go, girl. Come on, Pepper. There you go, Pepper. Hey, Salty. There you go, Salty. Come on. There you go. Pepper, here. There you go, Pepper. I love these guys so much. They're so freaking awesome. Here you go, Pepper. There you go. There you go, Salty. Whoa, 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 whoa. Calm down, girl. Woohoo. You guys are on fire. I bred my snake, and now she's egg-bound. What do I do?
Easy. Say Night Fury was a female and Night Fury had baby's eggs inside the tummy. Pick up the tail like that, and you got the ventral cloaca. Take a metal probe, lubricate it, and then you enter, and then you circular motion softly, and you're feeling for something.
The fact is that if you ever breed snake and you get a female that gets egg bound, which does happen unfortunately, you want to give her a few days to see if she can actually work that egg out herself.
Well, if you're a real reptile expert, you should know. All you have to do is look up Mr. Brian Barczyk on YouTube. Go do that, because it's cool.
And that's right, if that egg doesn't come out, what you do is you take a surgical probe, you slowly go into the cloaca of the female, and you massage that egg slowly towards the vent. And with that probe, you actually feel for the actual egg in a circular motion, slowly making progress to the end of that vent. And hopefully you can get the edge of the egg out without ripping or tearing an oviduct. And then slowly massage that egg out, making the cloaca bigger by doing rotational things, and then hopefully saving the snake's life.
Well, obviously you squeeze them out like they're blackheads.
Egg bounding is also called denocia in snakes, and what you have to understand is why a snake gets egg bound. Sometimes she just runs out of energy. She has one egg left and she just can't push it out because she's too tired. Sometimes the oviduct can fold or even twist. That's a possibility. And over a couple days, the twist in the fold can work its way out and she could pass the egg. The last thing is that the oviduct could actually tear and the egg can go into the animal's body cavity, meaning that it could never get that egg out. In that case, you have to take it to a vet and you have to have surgery to get the egg out to repair the animal and hopefully save the animal's life. My snake has scale rot. What in the heck do I do?
Ew.
So if your snake has scale rot, you should probably take it to the vet. Because that's what you're supposed to do when your animals are sick. What they'll probably do is they'll give you some medication or something and then you put it on it. What are you doing?
Hey, that's what I was gonna say.
That's what I was gonna say.
Then you said.
Take it to a vet.
They'll probably give you medication. And put it on the... What he said.
Before you can cure scale rot, you have to understand what scale rot is. It's actually a fungal infection that's caused by having an animal in too wet of a substrate and actually dirty substrate as well. Fungal loves to grow in moist, damp areas that typically have a lot of bacteria in it. So basically what you want to do is keep that snake really dry and really clean in order to help that belly scales actually get rid of the fungal infection. Now here's a little pro tip that you can use if you really have a bad case of scale rot, and that's that you can actually use something like Lotrimin, which is an athletic foot powder. You don't want to put too much powder on the snake because it can be kind of dangerous. But a little bit of powder on the actual belly, if it has scale rot, can actually kill the fungal infection, which ultimately can save your snake. You have to be very careful on the amount that you use to the snake, but that is a pro tip that works very well.
Oh, like Gold Bond.
Like monkey butt.
My snake won't stop biting. What do I do?
Give him a chamomile tea.
So as a baby snake, a lot of the times a bite don't hurt, right? So you just take it like a grown person. Don't cry about it. Keep working with that snake until eventually they don't bite no more.
The first thing you want to do is make sure that your snake isn't afraid of you. I mean, I tell you what, when it comes to Night Fury, I think that we have a little bit more fear on him than he has towards us. There's no doubt about that. But the fact that if your snake is fearful, it can sometimes want to bite. Because 99% of snake bites actually come from defense, not aggression.
Welcome home. Just late. But here, hi Mike. Watch out, everybody. Professionals at work. Needless to say, he needs some work. Watch out, guys. So what you do if your snake's bitey?
It's pooping all over you.
No, no.
It's pooping all over
No.
you. It did. It's too late. It pooped all over you.
Not me. Just handle the animal.
Wow, look at your shirt.
Bucky's, baby.
This is a Bucky shirt, eh?
Handle your snake gently. You never want to make erratic moves and make it kind of harsh on the animal. The more gentle and the better the experience that you're actually giving your animal, the more you'll actually create a bond with that animal and build trust. When you build trust, the animal isn't afraid of you. When it's not afraid of you, chances are it's not going to bite you.
A lot of the times, the reason why snakes might bite you when you reach into their enclosure is food response. So if you have the ability, please stop watching me! Find a separate container and then start putting your snake in that container before you want to feed it. So that way it doesn't associate every time you reach your hand into its enclosure, oh hey, I'm getting food.
Reduce stress as much as you can. You can see with our Madagascan tree boa, we actually have a hide box that it can go down here. But we also have a hide box up by the basking light too. So if it wants to stay warm, it can hide up here. A little cooler, it can go down there. The more you can reduce stress in an animal, the happier it's going to be and the less likely it's going to bite. Lastly, be patient. The more you work with the animal and do all the things I just told you, 99% of all snakes can become super placid and become great pets that won't bite. My baby snake won't eat. What do I do?
I don't know.
Feed it.
So,
This is what you do.
When a baby snake
won't
eat,
Only
okay.
option.
I was gonna say poop.
Guys, come on, get serious. So what you have to do is
Gotta.
Put the food into a container.
What?
Yeah,
It-
put
what?
the food into a container.
yeah, and make it really dark.
Snakes are nocturnal most of the time. So what they do is they try to eat at night.
Night. So you have to simulate darkness.
Night.
Don't forget to burp them afterwards.
When Helen was a baby, we had to actually assist feed her. That's right. When there's a baby snake that doesn't eat, especially something with like no eyes like Helen, it's important to make sure they get nutrition. So after about 3 to 4 weeks after they hatch, if they haven't eaten, one of the options is to assist feed it. Now, assist feeding is about putting the rodent into its mouth very gently and letting it eat. I do not like to force feed an animal. So first off, I don't like anyone assist feeding unless they know what they're doing. Number 2, you never assist feed an animal that is older, that is already fed. If your animal gets so emaciated it's not eating, and let's say it's a year old, best thing to do is to take it to a vet and have them tube feed it a bunch of nutrition rather than force feeding, because force feeding a rodent down a snake's mouth can really injure the animal, be highly stressful, and actually counterproductive. So I don't prefer force feeding ever. I would always tube feed if necessary, but even then, we hardly ever tube feed an animal because normally the animal will go back on food. We've got 99 problems, but our snakes ain't one. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, there's a playlist that you can watch all kinds of videos. You can also hit that subscription button. It would mean a lot to me. Also, hit that like button while you're down there. Have a wonderful day, Reptile Army. Remember,
Like monkey butt.
Bring them out, all the anacondas. Bring them out, bring them out.